My son, Jack Jr., was one great little boy. He loved to play football. He loved to ride his bicycle. He was just a good, strong young man.
He was my baby brother. He always called my sister and I his twisted sisters. That's how he would introduce us, his twisted sisters. We had a great family relationship, and that's something that we can say, no regrets. No regrets. Paula met him when he was already bedbound.
Jack Jr. was doing construction, and he was on a roof and just fell wrong and broke his neck.
I was at work, and I got a phone call that my son had fell.
To go into the hospital and see him in that striker frame with his head immobilized, and he had a trach and he couldn't communicate, was just heart-wrenching. I was always the big sister that when somebody would pick on him, he would say, my big sister's gonna get you, you know, and I was always the big sister who did that. There was nothing I could do. Sometimes the tears would flow for both of us, but we knew that whatever lay ahead, we were going to handle it as a family.
Paula started working with Jack, and Jack didn't invite everybody back to work with him. I've had some cases where the matchmaking process was easy, and Jack is definitely one of the more difficult ones because he was 24/7 and he was very particular.
She gave him back some of his independence by being his hands and feet.
He really appreciated treating him not as a person in need, but just as a person. He told me one time that I reminded him of his mom. That was very heartwarming because he felt a lot of his mother.
He was her son because of the way she took care of him and the love she showed him.
The last 2 years, he really started to decline. He started having more hospitalizations. And when he went to the hospital, he wanted to take his aides with him.
His feelings got so bad, she had to do more work for him because he couldn't do anything except talk and move his head back and forth, and that's it.
The last time he went to the hospital, I was talking to Paula on the phone, and we expected him to be home in a couple of hours. And so I got a call probably less than 30 minutes later, and it was Paula saying that he was unresponsive, and they called the family in.
I got a phone call from Dr. Howard, and he says, hurry up and get here to the hospital.
That last day when we were hoping to get Jack home to pass away, he went down too quickly. It was Paul and I that were there. And I don't think she realizes what a comfort she was to me. I've been through a lot of people passing away, both professionally and personally. And Paula's presence and her comfort in us having that relationship with Jack was very, very special.
Paula was there, but she allowed us to be family.
What I learned from Paula is that, you know, she was there that day, and he asked her to hold my hand. And so Paula held his hand, and he talked to her as he would about anything, and told her that he was afraid. And he was afraid to die. He was afraid of dying.
There was this just precious balance. You can't teach somebody that. They just know that instinctively, what a family needs and how can I assist, but still give them their private time. And I knew that she was hurting as well.
His brother-in-law, who was also his doctor, told him what they could do.
She reminded him that you get to choose. You get to choose what happens to you.
And he just chose that, no, he didn't want to live on machines. I was with Jack and just holding his hand. I told him that his 2 sisters had his dad. They'd make sure he was okay. And I told him that he would get to see his mother.
I reached and got a hold of his arm and says, "Hi, buddy, I love you." And he sort of shook his head and closed his eyes.
He passed easy and peacefully.
He wasn't hard to get along with. Miss him. I think you might miss him too.